Okay, so it's breaking up numbers into multiplications. That's not that complicated. It's like what two numbers multiply to it. I know 48 is kind of not the favorite for some of you guys, but 6 times 8 is 48, so you break it down like that. Should I stop there or should I keep going? What do you think? Keep going. You keep going all the way down until the numbers can't be broken up, which means they're called primes. So this is called prime factoring, because two things multiplying together, that makes them factors of 48. All right, so let's break it up again. What's 6 break into? 2 and 3. Awesome. Now, 2, I know you can break it into 1 times 2, but is that actually breaking it up? No. So we don't do that kind. You got it. 4 and 2. And then 2 and 2. Perfect. That is called prime factored. That was on your sheet. Nobody got it right. That was on the top 20. Okay, so now I'd like you to practice that one with me. Oh, wait. We should also not, when you're done, you can't just leave the tree. This is an ACT thing. This can be on the ACT test, and it'll be one of your happy places. You just got to factor stuff, break it up into what times what. And your final answer gets written like this. There's 4 of those. Do you remember that that's not 2 times 4? It's 2 to the 4th. Times, you can just use a dot for that. That's the more advanced way of saying times. 3. That is the prime factorization of 48. I'm going to do one more with you and see if you can handle it. Say I had 20. Tell me what you can, by the way, do anything you want. I know 2 goes into it. I know, let me think, 10 goes into it. I know 5 goes into it. I know 4 goes into it. You can pick any of those. Doesn't matter. So what do you want to do? 10 and 2. Okay, and now break up the 10. 5 and 2. And then you write it from smallest to biggest. Remember, if there's 2 2s, you can't say, there you go. That is prime factored. That is on the list of, there's a big list of stuff that can be on the ACT test. That's one of them. Move that one step closer to college. All right, so I'm going to give you one more, and this is kind of like the final test. I'll walk around and see if you've got that one mastered. Ready? It is, let me think, 50. I'm going to pause for a second while I walk around and check those. Pretty much everybody had this one. 5 times 10 is a pretty logical place to start. And then this breaks into 5 times 2. The only mistake I saw was somebody said it was 2 times 2 times 5. And I think it's because they were thinking there was 2 5s, so they should say 2 times 5 or something like that. But what is the right way to put the final answer? 5 squared times 2. Now, technically, there's one little thing wrong with that. What do you think should be first? The 2. Because it's the smallest number. Did anybody just naturally put the 2 first? I'm curious. Yeah, a couple of you. Good. Maybe it's just luck then. I don't know. But if you thought it through and went, I should put them in order from smallest to biggest, that's extra advanced. And yes, that's the final best way to do it. 2 times 5 squared. Yes, sir. Yes, in a moment. I'm going to get through one more thing that I want you to learn. And if you're not here, you'll miss it. So hold that thought one more second here. All right. Multiplying fractions. Watch how easy this is. This is one of those things on the list, and everybody goes, fractions. Oh my gosh, this is impossible. I've never got fractions. This is the easy kind. When you multiply them, you just multiply them. 3 times 1 and 2 times 5. That's it. 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 2 is 3/10. This is your happy kind of fractions. All right? So that's it. 3/10. Done. You don't multiply these two because what a fraction bar means is divide. So that's 3 divided by 10. All right, so let's try 1/5 times 4/3. Tell me what you get. 4/15. It is that easy. Boom, done. Do you see how some of these things that were on your top 20 are pretty basic? They're not that hard. we may have stumped you. You may have gotten it wrong. In fact, if we could hand it back right this second, I'd like to, but don't have time. We could. I bet you a lot of you got this one wrong, and yet it's so easy. All I got to do is multiply across the top and across the bottom. All right. Then I'm going to show you one more that I think I can show you just really quick, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's actually incredibly easy. And it looks scary, and I don't think anybody got it right. Before I do that, what's your question? No, you do not cross multiply. The only time you cross multiply is when it's a fraction equals a fraction. That's the only time you ever cross multiply. I'd like you to think of that as going over the equals with a big cross. It's only if it says equals in it. Okay, so this problem, notice I did not go this way. I went straight across and straight across to get me this answer and that answer. All right. So now, for those of you that are faster learners, and you're like, come on, this has been easy. I want something a little harder. Doesn't this look really complicated? And yet it is easy. It's a fraction inside of a fraction. I mean, everybody's scared of fractions in the first place. It seems like it's pretty much impossible, but let me show you how easy this is. All it is instead of, this means divide, instead of dividing by 3/8, you can change this problem to be so much easier by saying times by, but you can't just times by 3/8. That's different than divide by 3/8. So if you're going to change it to times, 1/2 times 8/3. All you have to remember is change it to a times, which is that easy one. And yes, it's 8/6 is the final answer, which, yeah, we should reduce, but one thing at a time. Do you get all I did is change it to a times and flip the fraction over? You used to have a 3 on the top, now the 3's on the bottom. You used to have an 8 on the bottom, and now the 8's on the top. Let me show you that again. Let's say if it was 5/3 divided by 9/2. And say, I don't want to divide. I don't want to divide. I want to what? Multiply, because it's so much easier. So change it to a multiply. Put a dot. That's the more advanced way to say multiply. And then don't do this. The most common mistake is to change, just say, instead of divide 9/2, you times 9/2. No, divide and times are different. So you can't just times by 9/2. You times by 2/9. That's this thing flipping over. See? It's flipping over like that. Final answer. What's on top? 10. What's on the bottom? 27. 10/27. See how easy this is? It's just flipping stuff over and multiplying it. You can do it. This is another one of, there's 200 things. If you were going to master the ACT, if you're going to know every single thing on it, and there are some genius kids out there who do, they ace it, they get every problem right, but it's really rare. Like, it's so rare you get your name in the paper for it. You know, like there's, yeah, liar. There's like 2 in Minnetonka last year, which is actually, they were like bragging about it because it's so rare to have 2 in one school. There's 2 kids in this whole building who aced it. So it's tough, but this is one of the things they had to know if you're going to ace it. Well, if you get it down now, yeah, you can go now. I know you've been waiting a while. Appreciate your patience. All right, now you learned that last thing. Now, everybody, here, take the final little test on that one. Ready? 1/5 divided by 2/7. You're going to like how easy this is. Don't say it out loud, please. I'm going to come by and check you. Mrs. Nolan, can you check that half the room? Yeah. Thank you. Can't believe you're gonna believe me. Pausing for a moment while I wade through the... All right, so this one came out to flip and multiply. 1 times 7 is 7. 5 times 2 is 10. And notice this divide changed to a times right there. Okay, so I'm going to now show you where those are on the sheet. That's not going to work so well at home, so I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, so this is the part where kids are trying off the basic 20. We're trying number 2, number 5, number 8, 12, 13, and 14. And we're seeing if anybody has now Mastered all 6 of those. And then I'm just going to throw it out there. If you see another one that you think you can do, like I think some of you can do 15. 2, 5, 8, 12, 13, 14. And I'm just throwing it out there that I think some of you could do 15. I think some of you might know how to do 18. And some of you might know how to do number 1. I'm going to pause while you give that a try.